This source reflects the negative aspects of international trade and globalization, specifically the spread of diseases. Now we will go through two sources to explore how the slave trade demonstrates the positive aspects of international trade and globalization. For our third source, we will be exploring an extract from the book Capitalism and Slavery by Eric Williams, published in 1944. This book portrays how slavery helped finance the Industrial Revolution in England. From this extract from page 6 of the book, we are able to understand how the slave trade was beneficial for farmers as the slaves reduced costs of production and increased their profit. So what are the values of this source? The first thing to note is that this is a secondary source as it refers to an event in the past. Because of this, a potential value of this source is that there has been more research done after the event, making the information more accurate. Additionally, this book was written by a historian and they are less likely to be biased, they study more sources, and are experts on the topic, hence more likely to provide accurate, reliable information. Lastly, every book that becomes published has to go through fact checks and the editing process, verifying the validity of the information included, which is very important and increases the value of the source. Now, what are the limitations of this source? The first possible limitation of the source is that it is a book and cannot be edited after being published. Since this book was published in 1944, there may be other discoveries and theories regarding this topic that may be crucial. A possible limitation is that the book may contain outdated information. Another possible limitation of this source is that it may be biased by the personal view of the historian. This source reveals the positive aspects of international trade and globalization, specifically the economic benefit of important factors such as agriculture. The final source that we will be exploring is an article. This extract from the internet article, How the Slave Trade Built America's purpose, is to provide us with more information on how the slave trade benefited various types of people. Through this extract, we are able to understand how slave owners, slave buyers, and slave transporters and merchants were able to benefit from slave trade. So what are the values of this source? The first thing to note is that this is a secondary source as it refers to an event in the past. Because of this, a potential value of this source is that there has been more research done after the event, making the information more accurate. Another value of this source is that as this is an internet article, it can be edited when something is incorrect or when adding more information, providing us with up-to-date facts. Additionally, the New York Times is a very credible source, which can also be another value. Now, what are the limitations of this source? In this article, the sources that the writer used are not identified, which can be a limitation as we are not aware if the writer used a reliable source. Another possible limitation of this source is the bias of the proprietor, editor, reporter, or the government. Since this is an internet article, it can be edited. The last limitation of this source may be that anyone could hack into the article and alter the information. This source reveals the positive aspect of trade and globalization through portraying the various people from various countries benefiting from slave trade. Lastly, how can we make trade more fair? Although slavery seems like something irrelevant and non-existent today, it still exists in the form of human trafficking, where up to 800,000 people are trafficked across the globe every year and sold as objects. To make this trade of humans more fair and peaceful would be to work to abolish it. In order to do so, consumers and everyone in general must be knowledgeable about the severe situation of human trafficking around the world to take action. The government will have to be balanced to help solve this issue while dealing with other problems. And the producers will have to be more caring and learn that humans are not supposed to be treated like products. This does not just go for human trafficking, but if all international trades kept these 3 IB learner profiles in mind, trade would be more fair and peaceful for everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.
created using Powtoon.